sent from heaven above. The song that I'm singing is of everlasting love. Oh, it's a new day for living life, a new day to get it right. Open the windows of your heart and let His love give you
Welcome to Cooking with Miss O. Let's join Mary Beth Oxendine in the kitchen as she teaches you how to cook Southern style.
Welcome to Cooking with Miss O again. I'm so happy to be here again with y'all. Today we're doing something a little bit different. It's in my basics chapter in my cookbook, and it's page 87. It's the granola. This is our own homemade cereal. We use this, when I make this, we use that on yogurt. We do it on all kinds of things. We use it on ice cream, and we just eat it as a snack. And this is what your granola bar in the chapter on snacks is made from, and it's just changed just a little bit. You add eggs to that, and it turns into a bar. So we're going to start this now. I wanted to tell you, this, if you can see that, is I have wheat berries that I grind. This is my oat groats. They look a little bit like the wheat berries. They're a little lighter. But until you break open this groat, you don't, you have all the nutrition in there. Once you open that, you have 72 hours. So I flake my own oatmeal, and I was going to show you that. I also grind this, and we're going to do this for our granola. So I do fresh oats. I do 4 cups of fresh ground or fresh flaked oats. And it's real easy. This is my bosh that I do my bread in, and I turn it up on the side and take the base away, and then I just start flaking. If you watch in the glass bowl, you'll see my flakes coming in right there. I have to hold my arm on it right there. And it's flaking out. This is like oatmeal you buy in the grocery store, but the oatmeal you buy in the grocery store, we all know that this lowers cholesterol. It helps with blood sugar problems. It also lowers blood pressure if you eat this. But what you think is if you eat all the oatmeal in the microwave, the instant, and you eat the oatmeal in the grocery store, that's going to do all those things. It's when it's within the 72 hours that it does that stuff. So when you eat the other oatmeal, it doesn't have the nutrition quality to do all those things to heal your body like this does, because it's like the wheat berry. It's just like fruit that you picked off the vine. It's got the most nutrition in it within the first 24 hours after it's been picked. And this is 72 hours. And during that 72 hours, it's slowly going down the nutrition of it. So I fix it. I do my fresh oatmeal, and I have that in there, the recipe for oatmeal for breakfast. This granola with it. I do it in my snacks and everything, but I do it so that we can eat it within that 72 hours, and I do it so we can eat it right then for breakfast. You can use this as a cereal or milk over it. Add bananas and strawberries to it, or you can put it in a little glass and put yogurt with it with fruit and put granola on top or in layers. I've also used this on desserts too, as a topping for a coffee cake and then bake it. A whole wheat coffee cake, you can use this. It has these nuts in it and this coconut. Now this coconut is sulfur free, it's organic. I buy all of this at Ingles. None of these nuts have chemicals on them. You buy them in the vegetable department at Ingles, and that's in the baking department. Okay. Now, I believe we've got 4 cups here. Let me stand this back up. Oh, let me see, I'm going to stick something there. I think it's going to be okay. Let's measure this out to 4 cups to put in and do our granola. This is an easy, very inexpensive way to make granola. You know how high cereal is, organic or non? This has no chemicals in it. This is all organic oats. Oats are excellent in fiber when they're done this way. They're very high in fiber. And also, when you have it this way, the protein's still alive. So if you eat this for your breakfast, you're getting the protein too, and the protein is very high in this. Let me look here and see. I think this is 2 cups. It is. So we're going to have to do some more here. I do this before breakfast and then make regular oatmeal. You can do this up in bags and send it with your kids to lunch. It's a good snack. It has a lot of energy in it because of the protein, because of the high fiber, and when they have a cup of this in a bag, then they don't have any problems with having low blood sugar or getting too hungry before it's time for a meal. You don't want to feed it too close before a meal because it does fill them up, and it fills them up healthily because then they won't eat their dinner. We use no sugar in this recipe. We just use raw honey from Be Well Honey. I've been using Be Well Honey out of Pickens for about 20-something years now. Here we go. Now it looks a little bit different than the way it would look in the grocery store. It has a little bit of a different taste too because it's fresh. Now you could have those oat groats for 100 years and the nutrition will not leave it until you crack that groat open, just like the wheat berry. We need just a little bit more. Now you can grind the oat groats and mix it with your wheat and anything that you do. I wouldn't really do this in gravy because of the taste of it, but I put this in my wheat bread too. I make rolls with this. You can put it with pizza dough because oat flour is real healthy. And if you mix it, and I mix rye in it too. Here we go. I believe that's going to be the two cups. I knew that doing this would take me a while. That's about 2 cups. Maybe just a little bit more. I try not to do more than what I'm going to need right then because even if you stick it in the freezer, it will still lose its nutrition. It's in 2 hours. My bosh can do everything from it has a blender to go with it, and I can do smoothies, and I have this flaker that I can flake wheat, and that way, and rice, so I can make all kinds of cereals, and I can make my own Ezekiel cereal. Here we go. That's 4 cups. And now we're going to add, this is the fresh ground whole wheat flour. Sometimes I do it on not such a fine as I did today. I do it on a little thicker so the wheat isn't so fine like this, and it makes an even chunkier granola. But my kids like it a little finer. Then the coconut that I use is without sulfur and organic. If you're allergic to a sulfur drug, or your child is, and you give them a coconut, which a lot of coconut has sulfur on it, they will break out or have the same reaction that they would to a sulfur drug. So sulfites are the same thing, and you need to be real careful that you don't do that with your child. That's why I had to go to unsulfured. My daughter can't eat fresh pineapple because they put a preservative on it and it's sulfur. So now here I've got the almond slivers and I've got the walnut pieces. Now first of all, I just toss all that around real good before I put the liquid things in. Now it only takes 20 minutes for this to bake in an oven that's already preheated at 350. I don't preheat mine because that's using energy, so I put it right in. You do it on an ungreased baking sheet, and then I just have to cook it a little longer than 20 minutes. But every 10 minutes, you need to turn your granola. Now this bread, you can put the oats in that too. You can do it as flakes, or you can do it also if you soak the groats. You can put that in there, but you need some wheat in with your oats when you make the bread. Now it's a little bit different in measurement, but not much, so you can kind of figure it out as you're doing it because it'll be a little stickier. It takes a little bit more of the oats than it does of the wheat. Now we've got that tossed all around. Now we're going to put a teaspoon of my organic vanilla flavoring. I get that at Ingles. And then we have 1/4 of a cup of water here, and I'll rinse off my spoon so I get all of that. Then we do that. Now we do the 1/2 cup of olive oil. And that seems like a lot of fat, but it really isn't because it's olive oil. And if you check it on box cereal, this is really very little fat compared to most cereals. Probably compared to all cereals. I do the oil first so that your honey will come out real easy. And this is Be Well honey. Now you can do other nuts in this. Pecans, sometimes I'll just do a pecan one. Sometimes instead of doing a vanilla flavoring with the almonds, I'll just do almonds and do an almond flavoring. You can change it up any way you want. You can also put dry fruits in it. That's a bit sticky. We are going to a commercial break right now. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back. I waited to stir this so I could show you what I'm going to do here. And you see we've got all of our ingredients here. It takes a while. You have to make sure that you get all the oil, the honey, and the vanilla on everything. So this is probably the longest thing. When my kids were younger, they did the stirring. Now I have to do the stirring. They just want to eat it when they come in. If you have children, I started my children cooking. My son, he was less than 2 years old and could cut out biscuits. And so start with your children. And this cookbook I've written it on a 3rd grade level so that anybody, children or people that don't know how to cook, can cook with it. Excuse me. And you don't want to leave it in big clumps. I'm sorry, this takes a while. That's why this is the only thing I'm doing today to show y'all. Because my kids, and they've told me not to call them kids. They're all in their 20s, so I need to not call them that probably anymore. We were laughing about that. They're all taller than me too. So, but you want to make sure that it doesn't clump up too bad. But the clumps do taste good. You just don't want a lot of them. And you have to stir this for a long time to make sure you get all of the oats, the flour, and the nuts mixed up. Because we're going to dump it on this ungreased baking sheet. Now let me tell you about my baking sheet. You want stainless steel because if you use aluminum, they have linked that with Alzheimer's. And so you do not want to use aluminum bakeware. And that's why I have stainless steel. I'm not going to grease that because there's enough oil in here that it won't stick, and then it'll brown. When I do, in the summer when I make our own sundaes and I have my own sundae bar, I always have this granola in it too, so that they can use that too. Now, let me tell you something else you can do with this. dry fruit. If you have somebody with a sugar problem, low blood sugar or high blood sugar of any sort, you don't want to use any dry fruits because that turns to sugar much quicker than a real piece of fruit. But you can use dried dates. I do organic dried dates I get from California. I cut those up. They're real sticky, but they taste real good in this. I use raisins. You can use any kind, a couple of different. You can use the golden and the regular. I also use, sometimes you can do cut up dried prunes. They're good in here. Or raisinets or cranberries. Dried cranberries are good in this, depending on what you're serving and what you want to do with that. And that makes it a different cereal, just like what you see in the store, but you're getting something that's totally organic and totally healthy, with a high protein and a low sugar content because of the honey, and a low fat content because of the olive oil, and that's a good one. Now, if you serve it for breakfast with your kids, I use low fat or skim organic milk I get from Ingles. But another thing you can do, if you get regular Laura Lynn milk at Ingles, they do not, and it says on their products, they do not use milk except from North Carolina, and it's against the law in North Carolina to put the chemicals that they do in a lot of milk now. Okay, I think that's about ready. We're going to put half of this on the baking sheet. We'll have to do this twice because there's more than, you don't want a thick layer. First time I did it, I dumped it all on there, not realizing, and the bottom cooked and the top didn't. So I don't do that. This will take 2 times on the baking sheet for probably about 25 minutes, maybe 30 at the 350, and you put it right in. I have a pan with another batch that will be done when we stick this in. Then you want to kind of spread it out. This is one of the favorite things people love in the cookbook, is the granola, because it's so easy. Anybody could do it. When I first was going to try granola, I was a little overwhelmed. I went and looked at a whole bunch of different recipes, got recipes from friends that I had liked theirs. And this is a combination of about 4 recipes. And my recipe was the only one that had the fresh ground whole wheat flour in it. That's about enough for another tray right there. And you don't want to pat it. You don't want to do that to it because it won't, you don't want to bake it into a pancake or anything. You still want it to be like a granola. Now we're going to put this in the oven in just a minute. But before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Bosch. When I was looking for a mixer, I didn't have a big mixer, I just had a hand mixer, and this has been 26 years ago. This is the universal Bosch, and let me see if I can take this off and show y'all. This is one part. It comes in a box, this flaker, and it's real easy to do. Watch me say that and not be able to get it out of here. I still got some oats in here. It usually is real easy, so let me stop here. But anyway, this, I was going to show you this part. It goes in here, and that's what flakes it out here. I do rye and and it might not let it out because it still has, that's probably what it is. Since it still has stuff in there, that's not why it's releasing it. Let me go ahead and finish doing this so I can show y'all. But this is where, on my Bosch, this is where the blender goes. That's where I do all my smoothies. This is where I do my flaking. There, that's all of it. always put something under it, but don't have it so that it's hiked up like that because then it won't do right. When you do this, and I put this in my breads, that gives you more nutrition too, and it gives that, when you go to some restaurants and they'll have a homemade loaf of bread and it'll have some of the crunchy stuff in it, this is what they do. They put flakes of different things in there too. Now let me see if I can get it off right now, because really, yep, it came right off. So it was because I still had that oat still in that. And actually we could just dump that back in there. There. You can double this recipe, but unless you have a really big family, I wouldn't. It's better if you make it a little more often because then it can get rancid tasting if you do that. Now we're going to stick this. Let me stand this back up. There. We're going to stick this in the oven and take the other one out. Now this is something easy for kids to do because it doesn't have raw eggs. You need to... Just take it out. And I have some still left in my container here. I put it in a Tupperware square, and this will almost fill up a square 3 with Tupperware. And actually in January of every year, Tupperware does 40% off their pantry modular mates. And I've used these for 20-something years now too. And now we're going to put this in here. Then you let it sit out after it let it cool without the lid on it because it needs to dry out some. Otherwise, if you put the lid on it right after it's come out and it's hot and you don't let it sit for about 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes, it will be gooey and you don't want it to be like that. You get it to about this color. And see, now I have, in the 20 minutes or 25 minutes, I have turned this over one time. I've already turned it over so that it gets brown. If you find that it needs a little bit longer than 20, 25 minutes, it's okay. Just watch it real close after that point because it'll go fast. We're ready for commercial break. Thank you. Welcome back. Y'all all know Marie Pritchard. She helps me on the show, and she loves this granola, so she snuck on just for a minute to do this. And I wanted to read you my scripture for today. It's, Lord God, I am hard-pressed on every side, but I don't have to be crushed. I am perplexed, but I do not have to be in despair. It's 2 Corinthians 4:8. Y'all, I hope you try the recipe. When you do, let us know. We've got the website up now, and everything's going good with that too. It's called Mary Beth's Kitchen, with an S on the end of Beth, no apostrophe at Gmail. No, that's the web. I'm sorry, I messed that up, y'all. Let me try again. It's marybethskitchen.com. If you want to email me, it's at gmail.com. I get confused. Y'all know I'm not good with the computer. But Marie and I are going to sit here and we're going to eat the granola, aren't we, Marie? And then we're going to clean up. Y'all have a blessed day, and I hope you like it. Thank you.